Hello, WKDU Nation. I am joined here for a special little interview with a band from Brooklyn called Laveda. They put out an album that I absolutely adored last year called A Place You Grew Up In. It's a fun little like indie rock shoegaze album. A lot of fun and a lot of really catchy hooks. Yeah, they're great. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Allie.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Joe. I'm Dan.
Yeah, we're the band.
We all play. We all play in the band.
Yeah.
This will go up after the show, obviously, but they are playing a set at Photo Club tonight with, who are the other bands you're playing with?
Humanitarian, Air Devi, and Paper Bee.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So maybe if y'all are listening back to this, you were at that show, and hopefully that was a really good time, and the set was awesome.
Fingers crossed.
How has tour been going so far for you guys?
This is kind of like a one-off for us, but we're getting ready to go on a tour in March, so that'll be really cool. And we did a lot of touring last year, but shows have been good recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great audiences, and I don't know. It's always fun talking to people after, so it's been fun.
Have you had any like particularly memorable experiences from the shows you've played recently?
We recently played Brooklyn Steel in Brooklyn, so that was pretty good.
that was pretty wild.
That's pretty
That was
memorable.
pretty wild. And we also played a New Year's Eve show in New York, which was our first New Year's Eve show ever. So that was really cool. Cool to celebrate and also play music, you know.
It's nice to get a balloon drop.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It was pretty magical, honestly.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah.
Was there someone like playing like through from one year to the next?
Yes.
Or was it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Our friend's Gift, put the show on, and they played. Like they started their set right at midnight. It was like they're getting ready, and they did the countdown, and they just did a whole 45 minutes or hour or whatever. It was very cool. It was fun.
It's really fun. What are you guys anticipating for on the shows that you're playing going forward, and just like the new year in general?
A lot, I guess. I think, we're definitely just trying to promote the record, Place You Grew Up In, and just see a lot of new places. We've done a couple North American tours, but there's so many places, it's like impossible to get everywhere. But we're playing a lot of new cities, which is going to be really fun. We've never been to Pittsburgh.
Oklahoma City. I'm like, there's a handful of new spots on there, but yeah, I'm just excited to see new places.
Is there anywhere you're excited to go back to?
Definitely.
Austin, probably.
Yeah.
We love Austin. It's fun.
Yeah, excited to go back to Austin. What's the place we're playing in Ohio? We're playing.
We're playing in Cincinnati, and we're playing in Cleveland. Cincinnati, we're playing at
Motor. That's a place I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to go back there.
Yeah.
Pretty legendary spot too. A lot of like really big people used to play there back in the day. I think was it Alabama Shakes?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Used to play there. So I don't know. It feels very much like you're a part of history. Just whenever you go to a spot like that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's rare for me to say that I want to go to Ohio in any capacity, but I actually do really want to go play there again. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun last time.
Yeah, my perception of Ohio personally is just a state that I've driven through.
Yeah,
I've been to a Waffle House in there, and that's it. But there are some very interesting one-off cultural things in Ohio. There are a lot of really niche museums around there. What about exactly I'm blanking on, but I know I've read about them.
I'll check Atlas Obscura or something.
Yeah.
When we're going through.
For this last album, what was the process of making that album like for you guys?
It's kind of crazy, because Jake and I started writing a lot of the songs during COVID, and that was just, a weird time for everybody. So I don't know. I don't even think we knew we were like writing a record really, and then we kind of were just like, oh yeah, we should. I don't know. I guess maybe we kind of knew, but yeah, we recorded in LA. Like, we started in Albany. We started recording at St. Rose. We did some sessions, and then we went out to LA for a month, which was really fun. And that was just mostly like overdubs and vocals and just kind of like super creative, fun, crazy shit. Oops, I don't know if I can swear.
No, you can't. This is the YouTube, so we're not bound by FCC.
Okay, cool.
We love that.
Yeah, FCC guidelines. But yeah, it took a long time for sure, and I mean we did stuff in Joe and Dan's basement at Tummy Rub Records. It was wild. I mean, I feel like our goal was to try and do everything in one place, and we definitely did not do that, but maybe with the next thing, we will. But regardless, I think we're pretty happy with how it turned out, so.
Were you inspired a lot by what was happening during the pandemic, or was it more experiences from before?
Yeah, I think it was like a combination of like frustration from just being so cooped up and not being able to play live shows. I think that's like just something we all really value, like just a major part of all of our lives. And yeah, it was really just hard to kind of not be able to do that. So I think a lot of it did come from that, and I feel like Jake and I had a lot of stuff going on at the time.
Yeah,
just
some family stuff.
Family things. So it was kind of like a lot of
Very
like sadness and like frustration, but I don't know. There's still like
there's
like a love song on there. There's some happy stuff, you know.
There's some pretty moments.
There's some pretty moments. Yeah,
it's a very emotional album for sure. It was a very therapeutic process making it. I think we definitely. I feel like we put a lot more of our own personalities kind of into this album more than anything that we've done before. That, which was an interesting experience for sure, and I'm really happy with how it came out too. So, and these guys played on it. The first one Joe played on a couple songs, but
I snuck my way in there.
No, you didn't sneak.
we were like we need Joe to play. I was like,
please,
please save these songs.
Yeah, but for this album, Joe and Dan played on all the tracks, and it was cool to like kind of have more of a full band experience for recording too.
How is it different than the first album?
The first one, Allie, me, and our good friend Dylan just kind of like would get really stoned in a studio like really late at night during like the red eye hours.
Yeah, we were like driving to Brooklyn every weekend. Like I was still in college, and we'd just drive there and spend the weekend and not sleep basically. So I feel like a lot of the songs just came out like crazy.
Yeah, very project-y, like a lot of electronic drums. A lot of us just kind of like, we came in with like a really kind of bare bones demo, and then we just like kind of tear it apart, change the key or change the tempo, and just like really fuck with it a bunch with him. And that was also a really cool experience too, but just like totally different than what we did the second time around.
Much more experimental, I feel like.
I feel like that ended up working a lot, like very well for the time that it came out, especially because I think everyone really appreciated that more like DIY feel in around 2020, especially.
Yeah.
It was interesting coming from like I joined the band like right as that record was like kind of like in its like 50%, 60% range. So like a lot of people listened to it and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's like that's you. That's like your band." I'm like, a lot of those songs were like pretty much almost done when I joined the band, which was kind of cool. It was like we're working on this thing, and it's like you're being shown like so many hours of dedication and so much work, and you're just like, damn, I'm about to play these songs. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out.
What's the story or like the timeline of the band's conception?
Well, Jake and I decided that, I guess like live band, kind of just like all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Or even just like concept to like where you are now.
Yeah, well, yeah, Jake and I used to play in a band together, and then that band broke up, and we were kind of like over it, and so we decided to like write together. And then after we had worked with Dylan on some of the songs for the first record, Jake and I were kind of like, we should try and find a band, like this would be really cool. And we were like, there's no way we could play these songs like as a duo, because there was just way too much going on, and we both love playing with other people. It's so much more fun. So then Jake just put out like a random message on, was it just Facebook?
It was on DIY tour postings.
It was on DIY tour
on
postings.
Facebook.
Shout out.
Yeah.
It was just like, any drummers? And I was just like, I'm a drummer. Well, it's crazy because Dan and I met, like, because we both went to school with Allie, and we like weren't really like, we didn't really like talk or anything, but we knew of each other. We were like, oh yeah, I know Allie's a great violinist. We're Dumbo percussionists. It's gonna be great. And then like we met.
Selling yourself short.
Yeah, but we met Jake like just out of nowhere, like because we were visiting a friend's house. We're like, oh, this guy Jake, he lives in whatever, and then like. Not even like a month later, you're like, I need a drummer. And then we like met again. It was like, oh yeah, like, I do remember we met, and then the rest is history. I don't know. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you all go to music school?
We
Yes.
did. The three of us, Allie, Dan, and I went to St. Rose, and you went to Naz in Rochester.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's funny that I think I had maybe seen Joe on campus. I knew you. You had been to my apartment.
I had.
But you still... It's so funny because Jake... Like, it was like the connection was through Jake, and Jake is the only one that didn't go to St. Rose. So it's just...
Is that the school that just shut down, or am I thinking?
Yes. No, you are correct.
Yes.
You're right, yeah.
I remember seeing, like, the videos of people, like, yelling at the
dude.
dean or whatever.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's actually,
was,
like...
finding out about that, like...
Strange.
It's pretty sad.
Well,
Because it was... They had, like a specific, like, niche music program, right?
I know what you're talking about. That's actually our friend Anthony, who plays in the band CPS, is attending St. Rose right now, and he was going for the same major that we were going, which is music industry.
Right.
But
that's my major, but...
Yeah, awesome. So, like, but I think his focus was that there's like a record cutting program.
Right, yes, that is what I heard.
This is a very popular TikTok. I've seen, like, all the comments. It's insane. But yeah.
He
Like,
made some good points.
he did,
He's a
and
smart guy.
he's a very smart guy. Kudos to him. But it's like a very specific thing. Like, no college really does that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on that, Dan?
It's I don't know. It was very upsetting to hear, but you know.
Kind of see it from we knew it was gonna happen. Like, we felt like, okay.
It wasn't surprising at all.
It wasn't surprising, but when it did happen, it still was like pretty
It
upsetting.
was still a shock. I think we thought that they would pull through somehow, because it seemed like, I don't know, when we were in school still, I was like, yeah, I've heard some rumors, like, things aren't looking too good financially, but I don't know, you always think, like, the school had been around for 100 years, almost 100 years, or maybe over.
I think just over 100 years.
Yeah, actually, the 100-year anniversary was when I graduated. So, 2020. So...
I'm mainly just more
crazy.
concerned about, like, thank you. I'm more concerned about the way it'll impact Albany, New York's music scene. That's where Dan and I still live.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, like having that college there is a huge part of that.
Most of the bands a lot of the bands went to St. Rose and were a part of the music industry program. So
How big was that program?
not very
It wasn't
big.
huge. When we were there, it was probably one of the biggest moments of it, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's probably like 20 to 30 people in the program per grade.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that is very small.
And now it was like down to like 10 or 11.
It's
something
pretty
like
small, especially now. It's like it's closing. Like so many kids are not going to come back to this spring
Oh,
semester.
for sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
that.
Understandably
And they're
so.
just rushing.
It also doesn't seem like they're doing a very good job of like making sure that their credits transfer and everything.
No.
No, yeah, it's really upsetting to
Yeah.
read all of the hoops and barrels that like, or read about all those things that
Yeah.
these kids are gonna have to jump through to continue.
Like
Their
sophomores
education.
have to finish this summer.
Yeah,
That's insane.
It's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
they had really good faculty that
Like, I guess the silver
Could've
lining
been
is
spot.
that it's like not a huge school, so it's not affecting like, you know, like like tens of thousands of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Still definitely not.
I can't imagine
great.
being 2 years into a degree and then be like none of my credits could transfer. Like, what do I do? Like, I would just give up.
Yeah, no, you know what? This is a
Yeah.
sign.
Oh,
I'm not
give
meant
up.
to get a
They told me music
degree.
school's
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone told me should have been the train conductor.
Yeah.
I was holding on by a thread for most of school anyway, so I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it's definitely
But-
rough. But
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that. I know it's been on like the news and it's been like passed around, but St. Rose was never really like a school that like you would say and people would be like, oh, I know where that is or I know what that is. So
Right.
it's funny that you were like, didn't that school just close down or like is about to?
I'm also just like very online, so that probably attributes to it.
Fair.
Because I mean, like here even like doesn't have too much recognition outside of like this like area of the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Chicago, so like nobody knows what I'm talking about when I say that I go to Drexel.
Yeah.
Like it, and I don't blame them. It's fine. Like I just go here because I got a good amount of money too, and nowhere else gave me that much money. So it's like
Respect.
It's the reason for going to most places.
Yeah.
I needed to get in my bag for that.
Hell yeah.
Going back to the original question, where did the band name come from?
It was my grandma's given first name, and everyone called her Susie, but her first name is how we spell our name as well. So that was like a nice little homage to my grandma.
That's so sweet. I feel every time I like ask a band that question, like there's always a very wholesome answer to it that's like stems back to like their childhood. I'm like, wow, because there's like some bands that I've like met like face to face that are just like random word generator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great too, though.
Yeah.
I've seen some cool random name generated names for sure.
Or a few of my friends have these like huge master lists of like band names they've come up with and are never gonna use.
Yeah, I have a friend that's like that too. Yeah, just like a whole, and some of them are really good sometimes too.
Yeah.
I never had that gift. All the bands I'm in, or someone else made the name. I'm like, can't do that.
It's hard.
It's
really hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part about starting a band.
I need someone else to make the name.
Especially because like I feel like it's also you have to like take into account Googleability.
True.
Yeah.
We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for us too with choosing the name
Mhm.
because we were in projects before and they were all like
Pretty tough.
just there were a lot of other bands with the same names.
Mhm.
So when Jake had Laveda, I was like, I've never heard that name ever.
Laveda.
Like, yeah.
Leah.
So I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it kind of fits.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it fits the way it sounds for sure.
And then I also wanted to ask just about like general like music stuff because like music person. What are your guys' thoughts on like this kind of revival of shoegaze and like music similar to the music that you guys make?
It's a good question.
I
Yeah.
don't know, does anyone?
I didn't know anything about shoegaze until I was like a year into being in this band. So it's cool to. It like wasn't nostalgic or anything for me. It was like discovering something new, which is nice. And I feel like it's probably similar for a lot of people our age that weren't conscious when it like first started.
Yeah, I feel like we're all very much like cusp, because we're all in our like mid-20s, and so we sort of missed, you know, like the 90s sort of like original period of the shoegaze, like, oh, sorry, I can't talk. Shoegaze like origin.
Shoegaze.
But yeah, I don't know. For me, like, I just listen to a lot of like grunge rock music, and like, I don't know, you know, I feel like my parents listen to like U2 and shit like that, and I feel like that stuff was kind of like a segue. Like, then when I learned about shoegaze in like it was really like the Slow Dive record, the self-titled in 2018. For me, like, that was I was like, oh my god, this is so cool, way cooler than any of this other stuff that I'd grown up with, and I don't know, I just felt very attached to it because it has so many similarities, but it's also just like its own thing.
Yeah, I didn't really grow up with it either. I just kind of like, it was the Slow Dive record that I heard. That kind of like, I was like, ooh, those textures are really cool. I feel like I'm always like, for like recording and stuff, I'm like really excited about like different types of textures and like layering and stuff. And so it kind of, hearing that kind of made me want to like use a bunch of different reverb pedals and put a fuzz after it and see what happens. But I think the shoegaze revival thing is very cool and exciting. And there's a lot of really cool, there's a lot of really cool bands that are doing it. And I don't know exactly like where we sit in that realm.
There's a lot of flavors now. It's really,
it's cool.
It's
cool.
Spawning for sure.
I like how it seemingly inspired a lot of younger people to pick up like guitar or bass or drums, because they are like, oh, this is like music that's like totally attainable. It's like not like, you know, not like virtuosic,
right? Yeah,
playing like if you have even just like a little bit of like excitement in playing guitar or bass, like you could figure out how to write something in that style or in that sort of taste, and like, you know, push your identity in that realm. So it's cool to see like a lot of younger bands being like, I don't know, like, I want to plug in a guitar and turn it up real loud. Like, that's fun. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it the most.
Yeah, and it's also cool, like, before we started working with the booking agent, I was doing most of the booking for the band, and just, like, looking for bands in, like, different cities and shit, and just seeing, like, what types of flavors of shoegaze were happening in those cities. Like, you know, like, even Utah, there's some really amazing, like, punk-centered, like, shoegaze bands, like 333 and stuff, and there's just really awesome bands just like all over the fucking place. It's crazy.
I forget which band it was, but someone was in an interview and said like, "There's even a shoegaze band in New Jersey now." It's like someone talking about High. It's like, that's just a funny quote, because it's like I don't even know what that means, but I think that's just funny. And just feel like they even got shoegaze in Wyoming and New Jersey. Like, it's everywhere. You don't have to be in New York City. It's like very cool.
Yeah. For sure.
Actually, like, I've learned a lot about the Provo, Utah music scene lately, because the other radio station that I intern at did like a whole week of shows about the Provo, Utah music scene, and they're very creative with getting around the fact that like there's only one bar in the whole town, and the fact that like it's, you know, pretty like frowned upon to make music about anything like taboo. So like, I mean, I guess that's also how you how they've churned out bands like Imagine Dragons, but it is very interesting, especially people that like started there and then ended up leaving the church too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, that's a huge part of that scene, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. What releases are you guys most excited for this year? Coming out?
Oh man. I know there's a bunch. I'm just like,
I know.
I always blank at that question.
Yeah, I'm like,
I mean, there's a release that came out last weekend that I haven't listened to yet, which I'm excited about. Or I guess it was today, maybe. Wait, what day is it today? Say Saturday?
Today's Saturday.
So it probably came out yesterday. There's a new Ty Segall album that I really like the singles of that I'm really excited about because I feel like I haven't really fallen in love with a record of his in a while. So I'm looking forward to listening to that.
I'm really excited for the new Punch Love album, or EP, or whatever it's going to be. New York City Band.
Whatever it's going to be.
Well, I don't know if it's an EP or an album that they're about to put out, but they've been putting out singles, and they're really good. Haven't listened to the Buff Ginger album yet, but I heard that's really good. Just came out. There's so much. I'm like missing like a million.
I know like one, but I don't think I know. I don't think I'm supposed to know.
There's this like band Connecticut Wally that I really like. They're putting out some singles soon.
Wally.
Hell yeah.
I don't even think they announced a record, but I hope You Bet puts a record out because they put a single out. That's really amazing. And I'm looking forward to whatever they have in store. I don't even know what they got, but I like it.
You bet you like it. Sorry.
I don't know. I can't think of any. I feel like I always find out about the releases. Like I'm not too much on the internet, so I really that's like funny enough. I feel like most people are trying to get off the internet, and I'm like trying to be more on the internet because I feel like I don't know what's going on. So that's like, I don't know, not a New Year's resolution, but something. But yeah, I want to be excited about. It's fun to be excited about something, coming out. But I don't know about anything that's coming out right now. But I'll know about it after, and I'll listen to it a lot. Whatever it ends up being, yeah.
Ooh, I still haven't listened to the Smile album that came out yesterday.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard very good things about it.
They put out an album?
Yeah.
They did yesterday.
Whoa.
Insane.
Trying to think. MGMT.
Oh yeah.
Those are great.
Those singles are awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Adrian Linker, Faye Webster. That's also pretty soon. I also do just have my computer in front of me, so that's a resource. I'm actually very interested to see what the Ariana Grande album sounds like. I really liked that single. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I haven't heard it.
That was the one that she said it's inspired by Madonna or something. Maybe I'm blanking out, but I was like, oh, it kind of has a Madonna feel.
It was definitely had a lot of house influence, which I thought was really fun. I think that's a good thing for her to lean into.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like the last album was so boring. I need her to get a little messy again. And also it's just a matter of Taylor Swift fatigue in the pop space right now too. I need someone else to not push her to the side, but move her over a few steps.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the Glass Beach album that came out last week is phenomenal. I'm glad that I was early to those guys because I feel like it's paying off now. But yeah, I don't know too much else beyond stuff that's coming out in March, but yeah, I have high hopes for new music this year. Because I feel like I was a little underwhelmed last year, just a smidge. The ones that had a lot of hype around them just ended up not living up to expectations.
Yeah.
I had a hard time coming up with releases from last year that I really enjoyed. I was just I don't really think I listened to anything last year. I think I just did a really bad job.
Yeah.
Really bad job of listening.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change that.
Yeah.
Trying to listen to more.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of classic rock last year.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's every year, A lot of classic rock, a lot of 90s, a lot of 70s.
A lot of touring means a lot of classic rock and a lot of just pop music for us, I feel
A little bit of Black Eyed Peas.
Stuff that sounds good in the car.
Keeps the engine running.
Yeah. So.
What have you guys been listening to, in those car rides?
Well, what we're listening to today, we had a
pretty.
We had some Ziggy Stardust today.
we had a Shaggy tune.
Yeah, we had Shaggy. Caroline Polachek.
Caroline Polachek.
That was one of my favorites from last
That
year.
was
Yeah.
that
That's
was
a- that's
She's
definitely up there.
incredible.
That's a fun album. I really enjoy listening to that.
Yeah. My first listen, I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't. I was like, I'm going to have to listen to this whole thing again because it's so eccentric in the best way.
I feel like every car ride is like 20% new music, and then like 50% comfort music,
Yeah.
and then 30% like sort of in between, like. But I think that was like it's like 50% just like I don't know. I gotta put something on. I know I like. So I gotta get through this drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're about to wrap up. Anything that you guys want to like plug for the people?
Plug for the people.
Come see us on tour. We're not playing in Philly though. I'm in March. I don't think. Maybe there'll be a secret added Philly date.
Take a drive all the way to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you feel like coming to Pittsburgh, or if you're listening from other places. But yeah, I think that's really it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This
thank
was fun.
you.